Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folare. I guess this is the first time I'm coming on air this year, and so compliments of the season still very much in order. And my sincere thanks to Edo Nifemi, who has been holding forth in the past 4 weeks or so. Anyhow, it's great to be back, and straight into business. Our guest this morning is Mr. Kazeem Afebua, APC chieftain and Edo State Governorship aspirant. He's in our Abuja studio. So first, a fine morning to you, Kazeem.
Good morning. Yori, Happy New Year.
Indeed, I wish you the same. And, well, it's still a long way away. I'm talking now about the 21st of September, which is when the governorship elections have been scheduled for. But nevertheless, here we are in January, and people are just carrying on as if it's something like in another fortnight or so. So much so that there was a consultative kind of a meeting yesterday. Why, Kazeem? Why is everything starting this early?
Well, it's not starting early. We are following the guidelines and timetable as released by INEC. Don't forget that political parties are expected to turn in candidates for the election, I think 1st of March, thereabouts, and primaries are expected to be held in February. So that of APC has been slated for 17th February. So there are quite a number of consultations going on, a lot of talks. And so before a candidate emerges, you have to also ensure that everyone is carried along and everyone is saying the process will be free, fair, and credible. And there has to be some level of collectivism in decision-making, in consensus building, and all of that. So we're in it. The party on its own, at the state level, with stakeholders and all of that, have put together a committee to try to interact with us, interface with us to see how we can prune down the figures or the numbers from 29 aspirants to maybe 6 or 7 or 8, it depends, so that there could be some level of compact arrangement.
Because 29, no less, have so far, maybe that there might even be about 29 have signified their interest for the top public job in Edo State. 29, and that really shows that there's the political spirit is alive and well in Edo State.
It's very high. Don't forget that APC, Edo is APC, APC is Edo State. But for some political misadventure, that was what brought in the PDP in 2020. So APC has since taken over, and so the APC needs to get Edo State back into its fold. And it's very viable. It's a very strong political party. And we also have to bring APC, Edo into APC so that it will be in sync with federal government, and there could be some level of unanimity in terms of policies and programs. The Renew Hope agenda has to also, translate to Edo, and Edo people have to benefit from whatever that is happening as a ruling party in the state, so that it can be on the same page with the federal government.
We'll come to some of those aspects, but the chairman yesterday at the meeting, as it has been reported, was speaking about the need for the party to move towards a clear-cut ideology, sort of an ideological stance, as opposed to the party just being a vehicle where, paraphrasing him now, just anybody could come in there and use it to win election. This has been a sort of a recurring issue, hasn't it? Whether or not political parties, and we're talking APC now, whether you have an ideology, do you have one that you're working with?
Well, the truth of the matter is that democracy in Nigeria is an ongoing process. It's a work in progress, and so you don't build ideologically based political parties in just one day. It has to go through a process. APC is not old. It's still a young party, established in 2014, barely 10 years, as a progressive party with, certain known core values and principles. And so you have to deepen all of that conversation to ensure that you're able to put it on a stronger pedestal as time goes on, so that some of these ideologies, principles, and core values that are peculiar with the party can be fully ingrained in the minds of the members, and also in the process you widen your membership base. You also try as much as possible to create platforms where you can continuously mobilize and conscientize the members to buy into those core values and ideologies, as you call them. It's not going to be a one-day project. The chairman was quite aware of that, but it is good for that kind of issue to continuously, maintain a front burner discourse, so that in the final analysis, it will be in the interest of the party that yes, people are sold and are sold to those kind of beliefs, those kind of core values, those kind of ideologies. You can't attain the level of Republican and Democrats all of a sudden in America, or the Conservative Party in the UK or the Labour Party. You have to borrow a leaf from what they did differently to ensure that they were able to entrench ideologically based political party. But in third world countries and developing countries for that matter, it is still going to be a work in progress, but it is a doable kind of situation if all the odds are right.
Well, indeed, I take all that you said about the developmental aspect of these kind of themes. But for the moment, APC as a party, but particularly at the national level, is working with the theme, especially this administration, renewed hope. Then there's the APC roadmap. So I imagine, as you said, it's a growing process, but surely, right now, there are those who are saying that there is no such thing as any kind of an ideology when it comes to Nigerian politics and its politicians, so that a person could move from one party and would fit in within another party just because it is that loose. Do you think, how important do you think it is to begin to close the gap between that and having a situation where your politics would have been known and you're not going to fit into certain parties, for example, your party, the APC, simply because people know that that's not the way you think. You don't think the way APC thinks. Do you think
Well, the whole idea about membership of political parties is actually domiciled in the constitution of the country. Don't forget that political parties are free entry and exit. But while you are a member of a party, you are sold to its core values and belief system. Some of the things you see with respect to defection and otherwise are occasioned by certain injustices, certain things not being done right, in one party or the other. And so you now have opportunity to ventilate your anger by way of protest. So that's why you see the word defection. Defection is not a Nigerian word. It's an English word that is peculiar with political parties in terms of the evolution of those parties in other democracies, even in the advanced democracy we talk about. So gradually, when you begin to build political parties and the processes of internal democracy are gaining ground with respect to making them so transparent, making them so credible, and ensuring that there is justice for all, there is a sense of inclusion of all the participants, then it will be narrowing down the space of injustices and some kind of altercations and protestations that are peculiar with cases of injustices. So once you are able to streamline that and you get to the point that you conduct an election, for example, there are no protests because there is a huge resource of dialogue. There's a huge resource of constructive engagement. There's a huge resource of constructive engagement and collective bargaining. And people are buying into it like the APC is trying to do now. You know, once you subscribe to that kind of rule, whatever be the outcome, you stomach it because your mind has been prepared ab initio that this is what we are pursuing. This is where we are getting to. That all the 29 aspirants of the APC, for example, were called into a meeting, and we collectively spoke our minds, and we took a decision collectively. Having bought into that kind of a decision, it will be foolhardy, or it will be uncalled for anyone to think that after decisions have been taken, you will now begin to raise another protest. That would be unfair on the part of the party, because you are part and parcel of a decision-making process. It's a different ballgame if you are not, taking into consideration if that sense of inclusion is not allowed, to flourish in that kind of democratic process. So what they are doing now is very much in order. It's a credible process. It's a transparent process. We subscribe to it. Yesterday, we appeared before the committee that was set up by the stakeholders of Edo, and we are rubbing minds. They interrogate you, they ask questions, look at the candidate, the aspirants that they want to represent, what do you have in stock, and all of that. So once you're able to go through that process, whatever be the outcome, you swallow it. It's not a do or die affair.
And all the aspirants are going to, in continuing in this period that you're speaking about, all the aspirants are going to have to, have this elevated mentality, because words were spoken to the effect of, you're going to have to, agree among yourselves and bring the number down from what, 29 or so. You spoke about that earlier, to a more manageable handful of maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, yeah.
The expectation is to reduce rancor. The expectation is also to ensure that, give or take, one person will represent the party as a flag bearer, and then a deputy candidate, deputy governorship candidate will emerge. The understanding will be that out of 29 persons, those 2 persons will emerge, the candidate and his deputy. And so we all cannot be the candidate. So, but we need everyone buying in to ensure that there's some level of support to give to the person who emerges, to be able to defeat the opponents that will come from other political parties at the election of September 21st. So, in getting to this decision, this kind of position, one is expected to understand that if it is not you, it could be someone else. So, but you have to understand that the process is fair, free, and credible, and that everyone has participated in the process as a collective, so that when decisions are taken, no one will cry foul, no one will say that they have been shortchanged, or they weren't given opportunity to be engaged, to be interacted with, and all that. Because democracy is all about dialogue, it's all about discussion, it's all about conversation, it's all about interaction. You need to just put the issues on the table and we'll interrogate them. That's what makes democracy an inclusive game. But when you try to make it exclusive, that is where the protest will come. But so far, it's been so wonderful with the APC, the way they are going, both at the national level, and even the leader of the party in the state, Adam Soshomole, this distinguished senator. He's been carrying everyone along, and he's been so commendable. And so, if we continue with this spirit, whoever that emerges at the end of the day, we'll have the buy-in of all of us to ensure that we rally around the person to deliver the person at the polls. Indeed.
And speaking about Senator Oshiomhole, who himself has been party chairman before, on this whole question of the adoption of direct primaries, as he was saying at the meeting and has been reported, it's about the best way. It's cumbersome, but he says he can't he can't see any alternative to it. Let everybody participate. The majority will have its way, and as he put it quaintly, the minority will have its say.
Yeah, direct primaries presents platform for more political participation by members of the party, essentially financial members of the party. And again, it is all-inclusive because it cuts across all the 192 polling units, political wards in Edo State, for example. Persons will expected to come out in their ward, they converge, on the ward, and they take, they queue up to votes and all of that. Votes are counted and results are collated and all of that. That is more inclusive. And that is what, has been adopted now as the mode of primary. So while the party does its own homework, we as aspirants will also be doing our homework to ensure that we're able to reach out to all our constituents, all the 192 wards in the state. We'll crisscross them, talk to them, let them know us, put a face to the name and what have you. And so that's what we have been doing. And it is better for the party because the more the merrier. With 29 aspirants, all of them going to different places. So it means that the party has a huge presence in Edo State, and it has men of timber and caliber who can also, help to pursue or drive its policies and programs. And in line with the Renew Hope agenda, whoever emerges will not fail to recognize that he is emerging from a process that was keenly contested by 29 persons.
Okay, right now, Edo State is the governor is PDP. That was spoken about. In fact, Comrade Oshiomhole was saying that he was speaking about reclaiming the government's house in Edo State. And he said he used the word advisedly, that if not for something or the other, a lot of it coming from APC itself.
Election and also defeat whoever the PDP is going to present, especially now that the PDP is fragmented in the state. There are about 2-3 factions. The governor is pursuing his own anointed son's aspiration. Other persons are also coming on board. I think 2 or 3 days ago, I saw Ogbeide Hama, a former member of the House of Rep, also declaring that he's contesting. You can imagine that the ruling party in the state cannot even boast of even 5 aspirants, but an opposition is having about 29 aspirants. So that tells you, even in terms of recognition, in terms of strength, that APC is quite stronger than the PDP in the state as it is now, and it will be a good thing to have Edo State back into APC's fold, so that they can be in sync with the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President. Instead of having a governor who, rather than fix road, he will go and mount a signpost and say that this is federal government road. An APC state will not do such. An APC state will rather go and plead that special grant be given to fix those kind of infrastructure, and not necessarily mocking the situation. Instead of you delivering governance, you are running away from your responsibility. So there are quite a lot of things happening in Edo that are not right. There is rot, there is decay. Governance has been brought to a very low ebb. When you go, even in terms of their friendliness, interwoven relationships and all of that permeates the length and breadth of Edo has been broken down. Rather than championing peace and harmony, friendliness, the state government is spreading hatred and disharmony. There is no state cohesion. The state is just on a free fall. So we need to rescue that state very urgently so that we can bounce back to our homogeneous composition, love for one another, with a very lovely ancestral linkages amongst all the tribes and traditions in the state. So we need a platform, we need an individual who can connect to all of this. We are tired of squabbles, quarreling, quarrels, and altercations for putting Edo State, in the news for the wrong reasons. At a time where we should be, we should be smiling and bantering very heavily in a manner that will promote good governance in the state. You need citizen participation in any democracy. You need people to buy into your policies and program. If you are doing well, the people will know that you are doing well. Edo State has almost 75% literacy level with a 4.8 million population. But as we speak now, we are bogged down by huge debts. 325 billion naira is hanging on our neck. And we are number 6 in the hierarchy of states in debt. But when you go to the states, you can't even rationalize the basis for this 325 billion naira debts. You can't rationalize it. You keep wondering where are they spending the money on. They will demolish a library which is supposed to be a citadel of learning and research and data collection. They will put a shop right there to be doing trading and all of that. So once the mentality of a state government drifts from rendering goods and services to the people, providing healthy political atmosphere and climate to promote security and encourage entrepreneurial initiatives of the people, instead you are pursuing profit and loss as if government is a limited liability company or unlimited liability company. It becomes a problem. So you can't connect the dots. And once you are unable to connect the dots, you find the state on a free fall. That's why the rot in the state today is almost unimaginable.
Yeah, and you were at the consultative meeting organized by the National Working Committee yesterday, and I would sort of, was it yesterday? Yes. Was it yesterday or day before? Day before yesterday.
Day before yesterday.
Yeah. Yes. Now, at that meeting was. Where did they want to know, since it's all to be sure that all, stakeholders are on the same page, the lie of the ground, how we're going to run, admonitions were made, people had to make sure that the financial aspects of their membership, everything, all of that was in order. Did they also want to know what the aspirants had in mind for their stewardship?
Well, the meeting of the National Working Committee with the aspirants has been held, and the decision was that the Deputy National Public Secretary, Duro Sinime Sheko, and one or two members of the aspirants or the State Working Committee will address the press, which they did yesterday. The position they have released remains the position of that meeting. I am not in a position to begin to interrogate further what the outcome was. Whatever he has put out there is the position of that meeting.
Okay, indeed, I think I understand that. This is part of the whole structure of playing according to the rules, and being as disciplined as all participants can be. Now, this other matter about internal party dispute resolution mechanisms, much was made of that. Look, we hope that all these, eminent people who are seeking these different positions will avail themselves of, apparently there are internal mechanisms for such, as opposed to taking the party. And that was said up front. The very deputy National Publicity Secretary that you spoke about, he did say that that would be a thing that hopefully we would not see very much of, the party being taken to court.
Yes, that's a very good point you have raised, and it was also agreed upon. It's natural for political parties to ensure that processes leading to election, leading to emergence of candidates are not soaked in rancor, are not soaked in altercations, protestations, and what have you. That's why I told you that the earlier initiative taken by the leader of the party in the States, distinguished Senator Adam Saliu Shomole, was such that, became like a novel idea. It's a novel idea of calling all the aspirants together, meeting with the leaders of the party, the leaders from Edo South, Edo Central, Edo North, all sitting down to listen to us. They've been able to engage us. We've been able to speak to some of the things we want to do, what our blueprints. And in deepening that conversation, we went ahead to set up a committee of 6, drawn from all the senatorial districts in the states, And in the process also, we've also been asked what our aspirations, what we want to do, what our plans, what our developmental initiatives, what can we do differently to deepen governance in the state. If you are confronted with a rotten and decayed infrastructure state like we have now because of lack of continuity, because of lack of delivering governance as it should be, then we should be able to speak, to our own ideas and initiatives and what have you. And that much we have been given that opportunity, and we'll appreciate it, the audience will appreciate the initiative, and so we are keen into it. See, for me, politics is not a do or die affair. It's like a contest of, two different teams, but in this case, we have 29 different teams competing for just one slot. And so one person will surely emerge. Once you have that at the back of your mind, then the lesser the trouble. But the moment aspirants see that the processes are well tailored, the processes are well followed, the processes are such that are transparent and open, and there are no gerrymandering, there are no horse trading and what have you, then the better for the system, the healthier the outcome. Once they are able to key into that, like we have all done now, whatever be the outcome, we will embrace. We will embrace, and we will commend the party for taking that initiative. We need to go into the race as a team. We don't want to be divided, because we have a Herculean task of ensuring that we win the election in September. And so in doing that, you have to make sure that every aspirant has an understanding that only one person will come up, plus the deputy that will come up, that's two persons at the end of the day, and that collectively we can join our hands together to champion the aspiration of that person who has emerged to defeat his opponents, those who will be coming from other parties, Labour Party, PDP, and some other parties in the state. But essentially, APC is a very strong party in Edo State, and we hope that at the end of the day, we'll come out as one team to face the litmus test of delivering the candidate at the election.
It's a crowded field. That, as he himself has been saying, shows the level of political activity and interest that is going on in Edo State. He's compared it with the incumbent party where, right now, APC is going to have to find a way to manage the 29 that it has into a more manageable number. But we've been talking about the National Working Committee of the party coming up with a consultative meeting with all Edo stakeholders on this particular election, trying to sort of find, a sort of a smooth field where everybody knows what's going on, everybody is buying into it. If there are disputes, the party wants internal mechanisms to be adopted, generally looking for a smooth playing field for everybody. Well, Kazima said that he's on board for all of that, but in a field with 29 at the moment, I don't know if there are going to be any more, with 29 at the moment, it does promise to be quite a vibrant, quite a dynamic process. But we left on the note of horse trading or not. Horse trading is horse trading. I don't think there's anything like positive or negative horse trading. Horse trading is what it is. People will trade horses. That whole, especially when we have 29, there are going to be liaisons, agreements, and that kind of a thing. Speak a bit to that process, if you will, Kazim.
Well, Yori, the point is, as at yesterday when the committee set up concluded its interface and interaction with the aspirants, I think it is now their responsibility to prepare their report and submit to the larger house of those stakeholders under the leadership of distinguished Senator Adam Saliu Shomole. I don't think there will be room for any further aspirants showing interest.
Okay.
Don't forget that the sale of form has commenced, but because of our understanding, we were prevailed upon not to go and purchase the form, which is pegged at 50 million naira, until this process is concluded, which to me, I see as very healthy, very plausible, very commendable. because we need resources to
There was
actually
one
support
aspirant,
whatever
I beg your pardon, there was one aspirant that bolted the gate, so to speak.
He acted in error, but that has been corrected.
Okay.
That has been
right
corrected.
now we can,
and
when you say it has been corrected, is the position now that nobody has actually obtained the form yet?
Nobody, as far as we are concerned, has collected form. We are working on that understanding.
Okay. Just before you go further, a call has come in from Sunny Adenuga. Mr. Adenuga is calling in from the UK. People might recognize that Sunny Adenuga is the chairman of Boot Party in Nigeria here. Good morning to you, Mr. Adenuga.
Yeah, good morning, Obiori. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Well done to Nifemi also for doing a good job while you are away.
Thank you very much.
Good
Indeed.
also,
Indeed.
I just want to talk about the point about political ideologies in Nigeria. Clearly, we know, unless we are being economical with the truth, that the current ideology of our politics is about money. Of course, I shared the video of Mr. Fred that a political system like ours will probably take some time to evolve into what we want. But that means, while that is true, we also have to be conscious that we are all responsible to create the society that we want. For as long as our politics is characterized by money, we can't just think we're going to reach and hope by faith that we're going to get to where we want to be. There must be that conscious effort by the ruling class to ensuring that our political system attracts the best, right from the kind of judgment that we get, not confusing the public, including the way INEC organizes its processes, going to even the laws that are passed in our National Assembly. But one thing I want to point out here, which has been one of the probably the main reasons for some of these problems that we have, I've noticed, and I'm happy to be corrected, that often our lawmakers tend to make laws like they are not going to be, the laws are not made for them. You know, currently today we have 19 political parties in Nigeria, but it's only about 8 or 7 that are in the National Assembly. But when they make laws, are they in consciousness of what's going to be happening to the development of our political system, regarding even putting into context every political party that is involved? I think this idea that the ideology that we have is around money is not favoring anybody. It's not even the players. Those who are active today, it's not favoring anybody. And I think conscious effort needs to be made by everyone to ensuring that we start gearing towards that path that we want. Yeah. Thank you. That's what I need to say at this point. Thanks. Welcome back on the.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sunny Adenuga, chairman of the Boot Party in Nigeria here. And you heard him speak there about the number of parties in Nigeria and the number of representation, the number of those parties that are actually in representation. Now, he returned to that theme of an ideology and agreed with you that, look, it's a work in progress as it is. But then he thought that the situation we have in the country is the ideology, the way it's going, will it not be more money-centric as opposed to any other thing such as service or firm beliefs in particular systems or ideologies?
Well, there's a huge responsibility on all of us to make our system work if we have designed one, and to also be accountable to the people if we truly desire to get them involved in the entire democratic process. It is easier said than done. I have been on the field of politics essentially for like 28, 29 years now. And I can tell you for free that I have seen a lot from different political parties. And I have also run a political party, rose to the position of an acting national chairman. There are a lot of challenges confronting persons, political parties, and what have you. Now, you have 19 political parties, maybe 18 political parties. It took the bold initiative of the Independent National Electoral Commission to prune down the figure from 64, thereabout, to 18, because there were parties that were just there that surfaces, when it is time for election. There are political parties that are called briefcase political party ab initio before this pruning down. And now with 18, I think it's a manageable number. We can still come down. It's an evolutionary process that will take time for it to get ingrained and entrenched in our body politic. Time was when two political parties were decreed into existence under the military, the SDP and the NRC. Because of our very disparate, ethnic identities, our different geopolitical configurations, it's almost like difficult for you to, run slimmer parties. You see all manners of protestations every now and then. But from hindsight, for those who have been active players, they still see two-party system as a more homogeneous, approach, to ensuring that there's some level of healthy political, participation. If you have two parties, a little to the left, a little to the right, then no matter your grievances, no matter where you come from, you play your politics within the ambit of those two political parties. That way, maybe there could be more opportunity for cementing relationship across board, rather than dissipating energy, setting up, fringe parties that are neither here nor there. So it's a whole lot of responsibility on all of us political players who have to consistently and continuously engage this discourse, offer initiatives, ideas, even to lawmakers who are making laws for the good governance of the country. We're not going to allow them to just... I beg your pardon
for interrupting you.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Kazim, but Mr. George has been waiting for quite a while, and thank you very much for waiting. Good morning to you, Mr. George.
Uncle Yori, Happy New Year, and welcome back.
Thank you very much. Compliments of the season.
Yeah, we're expecting a Christmas vote from you. Please tell us when you are going to... Tell us when you are going to bring it so we can delegate Mr. Yakub to bring his vote so that we share it. Talking more seriously, Uncle Yori, I have a critical question for Mr. Sego. You see the number of people aspiring to become governor in his party. And I learned that a party, the APC, has petitioned zoning. And I don't want a governor that used 9 members out of 24 to rule a state for that number of years to be the one to bring in a successor. I wouldn't want that to happen. But is the APC not trying to create that opportunity? The governor has already strategically nominated somebody and is championing his cause from the zone that has not produced a governor. And APC is saying now, we are throwing ours open. I want Mr. Fegba to tell his party that they should remember what happened to the PDP in the last election. What brought PDP's downfall was refusal to imbibe rotational presidency. And we all saw what happened. Only one thing that making it a free thing for everybody from all the parts of the state be an impediment to the success of APC in that election. Look at the number. What is the guarantee that 29 people will queue up behind one person and there will be no rebellion here and there? Therefore, making it impossible for a united fight. Okay, that is from PDP. This is the question I want to ask Mr. Fegba, because I know that he is an aspirant, and I don't know how fair his answer will be, but I want to hear it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, then.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. George. If you are familiar with the internal mechanisms of the political parties, you will realize that Article 7, subsection C of the PDP Constitution provides for zoning. So if PDP wants to zone to any particular senatorial district of the state. It is all well captured within its own operative framework, the Constitution. The APC has no such word as zoning in its Constitution. So APC can decide that they are not zoning any position. The NWC can also decide that they are zoning. It depends on how they feel or how the argument is canvassed. But there is nothing like zoning in APC Constitution. And talking about a zone that has not produced governor, I think it's also not being fair, because by the time you look at the history of Edo State and even extend it to Old Bender State, we had an Ambrose Ali who was a governor for 4 years from the Bender Central, as it were then. We had Governor Osareme Osumbo, who was governor in 2007 until Adam Soshomole, defeated him in the tribunal in 2008. He was there for 17 months. And at this time, Edo North had not produced a single governor until Adam Soshomole came on board. So if you are looking at the rating, by the time you are giving Edo South for consideration, Ogbemudia, Oyegu, Lucky, Benedion, Obaseki now on 4, you'll be putting 2 for Edo Central, you'll be putting 1 for Edo North. So we are the truly marginalized one in this contest. The sentiment of zoning has been canvassed by the North Central, by the Edo Central Senatorial District. Like I've canvassed in other platforms, it's not that of entitlement. It shouldn't be that of entitlement. It should be that of a subject of negotiation, constructive engagement, and collective bargaining, because they need the buy-in of every senatorial district, if they were to be given that slot, to get a buy-in to them. Because if you look at the demographics in Edo State, it's not in their favor. So, but that is not to say that if the party decides that that is where it is going, well, all well and good, we will need everybody. But I don't want them to canvass this as a sense of entitlement. The reason why issues of zoning in Edo State is becoming, is coming to the front burner of discourse is because of failure of governance. If there was, during Adam Soshomole, he wasn't a product of zoning. He came from the NLC as former president, joined the fray, took a party that was little known in Edo State, Action Congress. He popularized it, and before you say Jack Robinson, he became the governor. He wasn't a product of zoning. And when he was leaving, he chose one of his advisors in Godwin Obaseki, in the spirit of thinking that there will be continuity for some of his projects, very lofty legacy projects. But the rest, as they say, is history. And so,
okay, let me bring in Mazi.
APC has not canvassed zoning. Yes.
Let me bring in Mazi Okoroafo, calling in from Arochukwu. Good morning to you, Mazi.
Good morning, sir. Yuri. Good morning. I went to 2024.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Compliments of the season to you, too.
Yes, we thank God. Now, when we talk about yesterday when I saw at the airport, I saw one of the contestants arriving at the airport. I see the crowd coming and say, "Oh, this one has already won the election." My people started at the store. That's part of the strategy. Now, what I want us to look at is that the incumbent governor should give a free hand for anybody who wants to contest to come on board. Why am I saying this? The issue of I must bring a candidate to stand in for your political party as the chief executive is making our judicial system and our politics in Nigeria to be shaken. Everybody will start the politics into godfatherism, continuity. Yes, agreed. You read some of that. You see what's happening in Rivers State, you see what is happening in different other states again that is shaken, which is not heard for us in Nigeria. Because when you call yourself a politician, it's what you call spirit of sportsmanship. Give everybody a free hand. Come and try your luck. If you win, fine. That is why I'm still insisting that politicians should take politics as a vocation, not as an occupation.
All right.
Because people go into the office as politicians based on occupation, that is why we see all these problems. Now, if they follow the normal procedure, all the political parties for the contestants, I bet you there will be no issue of judiciary going to court after the election, going to court, up to Supreme appeal court election, it will not happen. But because of at the primary level, we still have all this lingering of commotion and confusion. I pray that this time around, Edo will get it right.
All right, then. We're going to have to leave it there, Mazi. Thank you very much for calling in. In fact, we've almost run out of time, but Kazim, you probably would like to comment on that in wrapping up.
Yeah. He has a good point, and that's why I said that the APC is starting on a very commendable note, and that must be applauded, because what matters in any internal democracy process is how much of inclusion you are able to deliver to aspirants who are running for election. And in this case, we are meeting, we are interacting, we are conversing, and so we are addressing the issues, as a collective. So whoever emerges, whoever the party chooses as its candidate, will have the buy-in of majority of us. And so if I emerge today, I will have to reach out to persons, I will have to, all the aspirants, I will reach out to them, I will plead with them, they have to join hands to ensure that we did.
Oh dear, okay. Oh.
And so for that reason, what I appreciate, I will appreciate the effort and contribution of everyone in that process. So, but I'm looking forward to coming out tops. I'm praying that the party gives me the ticket, because I know that I'm very viable. I have a name recognition. I have the capacity and the competence to lead Edo State, and I have ideas that are different from what is presently obtainable in the state.
I suppose it's allowed. It's allowed in modicum. Self-promotion is allowed. You slip that in there. But thank you very much. Thank you very much.
If I come on your program without letting people know how much of ideas I've got.
It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming on the program. And indeed, that's where
it's always a pleasure. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and Happy New Year.
Sure thing. Same to you. And so that's our program today. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folari. Once more, compliment.